with me. I may not seem bubbly today, but that's because I probably won't be bubbly at all anymore. Because I just realized I'm not funny. I'm just not. It's sad. But I am creative. I do like to write poetry and inspirational works. So I feel like I need to share something I wrote when I was in my sophomore year. Well, maybe it was my freshman year, right? Sophomore year. And I'm going to read it to you now. I actually have two things I'm going to read to you, so this one is based basically on the fact of what people thought of me, and after this one, I'm going to tell you the reason why people probably thought of me as this way. So, okay, here we go. You're ugly, you're stupid, you're mental, you're special ed, creep, weird, crazy, and the list goes on and on. These are the things I was called before the teasing went away. You can't draw, you can't write, you're not funny, you can't dance, you're a horrible singer. And the list goes on. These are the things I was told before I improved on my talents. You will never have friends, nobody likes you, nobody will ever help you. And the list goes on. I was told these things before I gained a group of good friends who support me. You will never be loved. No one cares about you. You are nobody. And the list goes on and on. These words were shot at me before I moved in with loving grandparents. I listened to this before my life changed. I believed all this before the neglect stopped. I cried myself to sleep before the pain stopped. I thought I would never make it before someone told me these three words. Yes, you can. Life isn't easy, but you can push through it. You can persevere. You can do anything you set your mind to. You are awesome, you are loved, you are cool, you are special, you are strong, you are good at what you love to do. And if you say you can't, yes, you can. I wrote that about myself because, well, it's pretty much true. I was never popular, probably never will be, but everybody knew who I was, but it wasn't even in a bad way either. It was because I was quirky and kind of weird, but I do have something called Asperger's syndrome. You probably have heard this word a lot, mainly because it's becoming more mainstream. It's become more of a mainstream word because, yeah, it's interesting because there's actually a lot of people who have it. A lot of famous people have had it too. One being Albert Einstein. I believe Picasso might have been one of them too. I can't remember. But there's a lot of people who had it. Very smart people. Me, on the other hand, I'm smart, but I'm not genius. But I also have multiple other disorders that cause me to be a little different. Most people with Asperger's syndrome actually are very shy. I am not. I'm probably the most outgoing person you'll ever meet. Mainly because I also have ADHD. So, or was that ADD? It was either one of those. But, yeah. And this is very true. There have been people in my life that keep on saying, yes, you can. Because there's people, because all the time I always say, I can't do this, I can't do that. Well, yes, you can. Yes, I can. Yes, you can. Because you can set your mind to anything you want to. I mean, just look at all the people with disabilities or life-changing disorders or accidents. They've always, most of them, these people find a way to keep doing what they love to do. They find a passion, even with, like, a missing arm, bitten off by a shark, and that girl's still surfing. And then you have people in gymnastics who, like, have no legs, or then there's people who literally have no limbs, and what I'm basically saying is they don't see their disability as a disability. They see it as just something that doesn't hinder them, but something that they can push through, that they can overcome. It's the same thing with mental disorders. I'm not saying don't take your pills. Or don't take your medication of anything. But even because medication, it helps. It's meant to help. Because you can't really manage the symptoms of anything by yourself. You just can't. You need aid for that. But, it's very, very, very important that you do know that, like I said, that, like, in my thing, I did say that life isn't easy, because it really isn't. Life's not always rainbows and cupcakes, like unicorns would like you to know. Well, unicorns would like you to think. But, it's, you can push through it. I mean, there's some people who I really just feel so sad for them. They take their own life, and they didn't push through it. They just didn't. And I'm sorry if I'm tearing up. It's because my senior year, which was last year, we had a kid at our school named Caleb. And he committed suicide, and I didn't know what happened. I went to school, and most people were crying, and I was wondering, what's everybody crying about? And I found out. And, you know, he was a really good kid. I mean, he had some problems at home, but he was probably one of the nicest boys you'd ever meet. I mean, I didn't know him that well, but I had other friends that knew him very well. I also had a friend that dated him at one point, and she really, really, really misses him. Is so mad that he could have done more with his life than shoot himself in the head. He really could have. And my life as itself isn't that hard, but there are so many times because of my mental issues that I do have a depressive disorder. It's not bipolar, but It's an unspecified. There are days when I want to take my own life. Because for no real reason. Just because I got mad. Just because Grandma got really mad at me and I just flunk down. And those are definitely no reason to take your life. There is no reason you should ever commit suicide. I mean, there are people who say commit suicide because if your life's just so bad that you probably should. No. You should never let it come to that point that you absolutely have to. There is no absolutely have to. There is no option. You do not kill yourself. Because that affects a lot of people around you. It really does. So never, and even with the days I think about it, look, I'm a Christian. And I believe that if you were to commit, I have a belief that if you were to commit suicide, it's a sin that can't be forgiven, and you immediately go to hell, because you just don't. Because you can't forgive yourself because you're dead. You just can't. So you skip the gates of heaven and immediately get sent to hell, because there was no time for you to be forgiven. Because you took your own life and it wasn't your time. It's just, no. It's wrong. So, I just feel like I'll just push through the miserable days. Like I said in my thing, that you can push through it and you can persevere. You can. And if you think you can't, yes, you can. You have to. There is no doubt about it. You have to. Because you don't think of the lives you're hurting if you take your own life. You don't think about the lives of anybody if you're doing that. It's selfish. You don't take others into consideration. Even if you just leave a suicide note, that's not enough. People actually want you to be there for them. You don't. You just don't. Because you really are awesome. You really are loved. There are people that love you. Even though you feel like nobody loves you, there is someone out there that loves you. Somebody, like friends, there are other family members. I mean, there are people that love you. Life's not all doom and gloom. It's make the best of your life. I mean, you have to. I mean, you may not be popular, but you can still be cool in your own way. And you're special and not special ed, but you're special in a good way. Everybody has their special someone. Everybody does. And to me, everyone out there is my special someone. Keep your life the way it should be. Don't kill yourself. Sorry if I'm just rambling on and on about suicide when it started out as something else. It's just what happens. I get off subject so quickly. But you need to understand this. You need to. Suicide is never an option. It should never be an option. I don't believe in assisted suicide because suicide should just never exist. I'm glad in China they have, or Japan, Japan, they have suicide barriers on their offices. I mean, their days at work are so hard and so heavy that workers will just jump out the windows just to get it over with. I don't believe in that, and that's what I'm glad they have suicide barriers to keep them from killing themselves. It may be so tough you think there's no way out of it. Push through it. And not just tough it out. Be creative with it. Find something. Find some other way to make your life meaningful. I mean, currently, I really have no life right now, but currently, there's no reason for me to do anything. No reason for anyone to do anything like that. You are definitely a strong person. You have to be strong to push through in this world. I mean, not strong and powerful like money. Money doesn't matter. You can be dirt poor. You could be homeless and you can still push through it. They do. They push through it all the time. Once you've been rock bottom, you know. You know how to survive. My grandparents have hit rock bottom and they managed it. They managed it. This video is already getting extremely long. But at least it's not as long as the others. Guess I'm gonna end on this serious note. Whatever you think you can't do, or whatever you think should happen, whatever you think you can't do, yes you can. And whatever you think you have, and if you think you can commit suicide, no you can't. You ruin the lives of everybody around you doing that. You upset everybody. It's not, I mean, people who die naturally, it's okay. It's okay because it's a natural way to die. But murder and suicide should never happen. But it does. So, goodbye to you all today. Tomorrow you will get to learn more about me because, well, tomorrow is my introduction day. So I will see you all tomorrow. Ciao.